welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping right into something pretty striking. It's this huge paradox, really.
Yeah, it's the $80 Snap-on Ratchet Spinner versus the, $2 one from Harbor Freight.
Exactly. A 4,000% price difference. It seems, well, kind of crazy on the surface.
Right. I mean, both tools, they basically do the same job. Turn a bolt. It's not like we're talking rocket science here. It's maybe as complex as, I don't know, a bicycle wheel.
So the point of this deep dive isn't really about how a ratchet works, the basics.
No, not at all. We want to get into the why. Why does this massive premium exist? We need to look at the engineering, sure, but also the psychology, the economics behind it.
Okay, so let's start peeling that back. If the fundamental job is identical turning bolts, where does that 78 tail difference actually go? Let's start with the tangible stuff, the engineering. What measurable differences matter, especially for a pro?
Well, this is where you see the first significant gap. A Harbor Freight Pittsburgh tool, typically it's got something like a 36-tooth gear inside.
Okay. And what does that mean in practice?
It means you need about a 10-degree swing of the handle to get it to click to the next tooth. 10 degrees of movement.
Right. And the snap-on?
That's where the premium starts showing up. The snap-on usually has a 90-tooth mechanism. Much finer.
90 teeth.
So
the swing arc is much smaller.
Exactly. It drops down to just 4 degrees. 4 degrees versus 10.
Okay. 6 degrees difference. Is that really a big deal? I mean, are you paying thousands of % more for something you only need in, like, super rare, tight spots?
For someone like you or me, maybe just doing occasional stuff, probably not often, no. But think about a professional mechanic. Engine bays are packed tighter than ever.
Yeah, good point.
That extra 6 degrees can literally be the difference between getting the bolt turned easily or having to, take apart 3 other things just to get access. It saves time, and time is money in a shop.
Okay, so swing arc is one thing. What else?
Precision.
Yeah.
The machining tolerances on the Snap-on are just, much tighter. This leads to a couple things. Smoother operation, for one.
Smoother how?
Less friction, less grinding. But critically, it reduces or even eliminates something called backlash.
Backlash. Okay. Translate that for us non-mechanics.
Sure. You know when you grab a cheaper ratchet and start to turn it, there's that tiny bit of wiggle or slop before the socket actually engages and turns.
Ah, yeah, I know what you mean. That little bit of play.
That's backlash. It feels sloppy, it wastes a tiny bit of your motion, and over time, it can actually put more stress on the fastener head, potentially rounding it off. The Snap-on, with its precision, basically zero backlash, instant engagement, crisp.
Gotcha. And you mentioned ergonomics earlier when we were prepping. Does that play in less fatigue?
Definitely. Pros report it. That smoother action, the instant engagement, the slightly better handle design, perhaps. Over an 8-hour day of constant use, it adds up. Less hand strain, less fatigue. That's a real performance benefit, even if it's hard to quantify easily. Plus, the chrome finish is usually better quality, resists rust and grime longer.
Okay, so there are real engineering differences. Tighter arc, no backlash, maybe better durability and less fatigue. Makes sense for heavy daily use.
Yeah.
But is that worth 4,000%? Or is there something else going on, like the psychology?
Yes. This is where it gets really interesting, looking beyond the metal. We looked at, forums, places like Reddit, Garage Journal, where mechanics talk shop.
And what came up?
A surprisingly common theme. Mechanics admitting, quite openly sometimes, that pulling a cheap Pittsburgh tool out of their big, expensive toolbox, well, it feels embarrassing, especially in front of a customer.
Embarrassing, really.
Yeah, think about it. The customer's already anxious about their car, the bill, and the mechanic pulls out a tool that looks cheap. It subtly undermines their confidence, maybe. The Snap-on logo, in that context, isn't just a brand, it's signaling.
Professional credibility signaling, like wearing a tailored suit versus something off the rack. It projects an image.
Exactly. It says, I'm serious, I invest in my tools, I know what I'm doing. That perceived competence, even if subconscious, is actually valuable for the professional whose livelihood depends partly on that customer trust.
So the logo itself carries weight as part of the product's value proposition for the pro.
Absolutely. Which leads us right into the economics of it all. Does the math ever actually work out for the expensive tool?
Right. Let's talk dollars and cents. For the average person, the weekend warrior, doing an oil change twice a year, does the $80 tool make any sense?
Honestly, almost certainly not. The $2 Harbor Freight tool will absolutely turn the bolt. It might have some backlash, might need a bit more swing room, but it gets the job done. For those occasional uses, it delivers, 95% of the core function for 2% of the price? The value proposition is huge for the casual user.
Okay, but flip that. The professional mechanic using it day in, day out, abusing it, really.
Yeah.
How does the calculation change?
Durability becomes key. That Snap-on tool is built to withstand constant heavy use for years, sometimes decades. That cheap $2 tool. Under professional shop conditions, it might last a year or two if you're lucky. Maybe less.
So you're replacing it frequently. Let's say over 10 years, maybe you buy 5 of the cheap ones. That's $10, still way less than $80.
True, just looking at replacement costs. But
Yeah.
you also have to factor in downtime. What happens when that cheap tool breaks right in the middle of a job?
Delay,
Yeah,
frustration, lost billable hours.
precisely. The cost isn't just the replacement tool, it's the lost income and potential customer dissatisfaction from the delay. Suddenly, the reliable, decade-lasting Snap-on starts to look more sensible purely from a business continuity perspective.
And there's the business context too, right? Taxes, financing.
Yeah, that's a big part of it for pros. That $80 isn't just out-of-pocket spending like it is for a hobbyist. It's a business expense, a capital investment. They can likely deduct it on their taxes. Plus, Snap-on has this whole ecosystem, the trucks that come to the shop, financing options. They make it easier for professionals to acquire these expensive tools as part of running their business. It's a different market dynamic entirely.
So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for you listening? It really boils down to context, doesn't it?
Completely. There's no single right answer. For the professional, the one who needs that 4-degree swing sometimes, who values absolute reliability to avoid downtime, and who benefits from that credibility signaling, the Snap-on probably makes long-term economic sense.
But for everyone else, for home garage use,
the $2 tool does the job. The premium features of the Snap-on are essentially overkill. You're paying a massive amount for benefits you'll likely never truly need or appreciate.
So here's the thought to leave you with. We see how the expensive tool makes a certain kind of sense for the pro, balancing function, durability, and perception. But think about your own life. If the basic $2 version achieves the core task, how often are we all paying a huge premium, not for function, but for the logo, for that perceived competence signaling, and all sorts of other things we buy?